big room with a lot of people that I don't know, never met before. And our category comes up and they say my name and I was paralyzed because I was like, wait, wait a second. What just happened? I started singing at the age of 8. My dad is a minister, he's a pastor, and he would teach me how to sing, hold the mic this way, sing this way. He would preach and I would sing before he preaches. And that's how I kind of fell in love with music. I always found purpose, and it continued throughout my life, through high school, into college. I think in college, I fell off of music a little bit because I experienced a little bit of rejection. When you're in a small pond in high school with a small amount of students, you're popular because you sing. It's in college that I rediscovered a new love for music, and that was writing music. That's when I started exploring how to record music on my computer and do different tracks. So I had this small little Dell computer that I would record, lead voice and then alto and tenor, and discovered I could actually write music. And I realized that music is so powerful. I'm a physical therapist. One particular patient, I remember, I walked into the room and she was just down, depressed, just didn't want to do anything. Had a stroke as a young person, and I started to sing. I started to sing Amazing Grace, and she started to cry. And I realized that in that moment, I was doing just more than physical therapy. I was reaching in and actually touching this person's life. And after that, all of a sudden, she was like, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? Let's sit up. So we sat up and she got out of bed and she was just so happy because I had reached in. And I realized that music is so powerful in so many ways and can reach people in ways that we could never understand. As time progressed in my career, I realized, patients don't want to hear, you got to do this. They want to have fun. They want to feel like a human being, even though they're going through this traumatic experience. So many times I walk into my patient's room and I'm like, hey, let's get up off of that thing and dance till you get better. I break into, James Brown and all sorts of silly songs just to, change their mood so that they could, be more open and receptive to doing therapy. And it is therapy in a way, music is. COVID opened up a whole new world for me in music because at that time, people became more accessible, everybody was online, everybody was doing Facebook Lives, everybody, so here I was trying to find out how I could put some of this music that I had in my head, bring it into life. And that's when I met my producer. His name is Koda. Unfortunately, he passed away a couple weeks ago, which, may his soul rest in peace. But he is an artist and also a producer. And boy, is he a genius. I mean, he could take my a cappella nonsense and make a song out of it. And it was just amazing to watch. So when I was putting the album together, I met him and, one song turned into 2 songs. 2 songs turned into 5 songs. And all of a sudden I was like, oh, wow, I have a body of work. I probably should put all of this together and put a name on it, So I decided on The Journey because it was a journey, The first track was a blues track, which is done in my language in Chi. And, there's everything in there: jazz, blues, a cappella, R&B, some soul funk in there even. It was the whole album, putting it together was a journey, but it was also reflected a little bit about my life, a little, bits and pieces that came together and glued together as one Ama. Yeah, so I think in many ways, COVID, even though it devastated us, it reminded me of the essence of life, because at that time, going to work was like going to war. Everything was locked down. Adams Street was a ghost town. Like, going to work was like, it was a scary experience. There was nobody in town. Every morning it was just you and the other healthcare workers driving up this hill. And, nobody wanted to come to the hospital. And the people who were in the hospital were really, really, really sick. And so you see how short life is in those instances. And you start to question, is this all there is to life? And I think that's when I realized, what? All this music that is just sitting on my computer needs to come out. And I thank God that I met, my producer at that time, because he was able to help me, put all of this together. And voila, the Journey album was born. I think I've said before, I started my whole, solo music career here at SubCat Studios. And I never knew that there was an award scheme in Syracuse. Actually, I'd never heard of it. So when I put the album together, I think it was probably Cody or somebody when we were doing the album release party in the studio who mentioned, hey, this album's really good. You should submit for the SAMMYs. And I also have a coworker who works with me at Kraus, actually, who sings in a band that I had sent the album to. And she was like, you know what? This album's really good. You should send it to the SAMMYs. So I was like, okay, December, I'm sending it to the SAMMYs, not knowing, anything's going to happen. And I shouldn't say this, but I was sitting at work when I actually found out that I was nominated. And I all of a sudden screamed at the nurse's station. I had a doctor sitting next to me who was like, what's wrong? What happened to you? Are you okay? And I was like, oh my gosh, I just got nominated for a SAMMY. I never thought, anything like this could happen. Here I was excited I'm nominated. I didn't even know what other categories meant. So I took the time and listened to everybody else in the category with me. Really good stuff, by the way. I think I won't mention names, but one in particular was my favorite. I was like, okay, they're gonna win because they're my favorite. I love their stuff. So I show up to the SAMMYs dressed to the nines, of course. I didn't know anybody in the room except for people that I had worked with previously, on the album. So everybody was chatting away. I was just looking at everyone. I was like, okay, I'm in a big room with a lot of people that I don't know, never met before. And our category comes up and they say my name and I was paralyzed because I was like, wait a second. What just happened? First of all, I sing gospel music in a different language, and I'm in Syracuse. What just happened to me? So I think it was my photographer who was like, go, they said your name. And I remembered, oh my gosh, I have to go and speak. I found myself on the stage somehow. I probably was rude to the poor guys who were handing me the award because I was completely in a daze. And somehow was able to say an acceptance speech. But I went back through the annals of the Sammys, and I realized I think I might be the first Ghanaian American to win a Sammy, which I didn't realize I had made history. I never thought that, I mean, let's call a spade a spade. I'm black, I'm from Africa. I never thought my music would be something enjoyable for a board of, Syracuse Music Awards to listen to, so much so as to vote for my project. So music transcends boundaries in ways that blows my mind. And I'm just so excited to be a part of it.